Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday night. Time for your favorite show with the greatest Bama content out there that cannot be replicated, the Bama Standard. Before we get started, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're here live, make some noise in that chat. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section. And as always, we're brought to you by Workspace Solutions. If your business needs a digital presence or a full-fledged marketing team, these are the guys to hook you up, and they keep our lights turned on, so we love those guys. But anyway, I'm Justin Riley, your host, and with me, as always, the star of the show, the undefeated, undisputed king of comedy, legendary Steve Brown.
Thank you. Oh, man, I love that echo. Yes. Appreciate it, man. Hey, man, I'm happy to be here, man. I'm excited about this show, man. Let's get it. Let's get
Yes,
it.
sir.
Hey, you
And
probably
with the
shouldn't get
star
so
of the
close.
show, the guy who interrupts everything, who just came from Baby Gap and was all SEC linebacker, Marvin Constant.
No, I was just telling Steve he probably shouldn't get that close to the camera because when he put his face in, you see his head. It looked like he just put on a fresh white T-shirt. Might be time to go clean that up, son, Steve. You know, you put that fresh white tee on, all that lint be on your head. Rogaine there.
Wow. Okay, so passing on the positivity to the greatest senior analyst in the game, the guy who keeps Paul Feinbaum employed, Stephen M. Smith.
Yo,
And-
going
and
on?
Last but not least, the two-time national championship winner, two-time USFL champion, and the baddest man to ever tote the rock, the Bo Scarborough. What's going on, Bo?
Hey, Justin, before we get started, I can see it in Steve's face so bad. He want to come back.
Hey, Justin. Listen, I need you to redo my intro next week, but you got to do a Marvin proof so he won't be able to say anything. Also, you got to say Greene County for Bo. Make sure you mention Greene County from Greene County. Yeah, because I don't think me and Bo had a meeting about that, and he cried on my shoulder. And yeah, I want to make sure you mentioned.
Listen, guys, we got an exciting show. Football is definitely back. We had the first full scrimmage. We got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of panic in the air. But before we get into everything, we've got a legend back who's a legendary fan favorite. I'm going to let Stephen M. Smith bring this man on.
I mean, this guy is not a guest. This is family right here. This is pure family right here. One of the greatest defensive players, sex specialists, linebackers, pastors. He wears about 80 dozen hats. Had a son to play in the NFL. Now he and his son are on the biggest show on Tide 109 out of Tuscaloosa. Let's crack open 2 cans, 2 bottles of Miller Lite. It is Miller time. We got Corey Pastor Payne Miller. Let's go.
Yeah. Woo.
Guys, I want to say something. Mr. Miller, first of all, thank you for being on our show. We're honored to have you, but I feel like we shouldn't have any more guests that's gonna come on and have a better intro than mine. I don't like that.
Your intro is very. Let's just use the word generic.
Exactly. And Mr. Miller, if I'm gonna be the star of the show, you should see thunder, lightning, and all types of stuff. Sound effects, because I'm the star of the show.
Boo, 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 boo.
Wow.
There you go. There's your thunder.
Wow.
That was free of charge, Steve. We didn't have to use anything in our budget for that.
Just before you start, I just want to say I want to send my condolences to Alex Collins family. You know what I'm saying? Our prayers are with you guys, and he was a great dude, man. I was with him out there in Seattle for a couple weeks, like a month or so. He's a great dude, man, and I also talked to him when he was in the USFL. We spent a lot of time together. So, that one hit home for me. So I just want to send my condolences out to his family.
That's what's up. Now that's the player that recently lost his life on the motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I read about that, man. Yeah, many condolences from us to your family, and I'm sorry to hear that, Bo.
No doubt. I definitely hate to hear that. Too young, 28 years old. For the SEC fans, they definitely remember what he contributed playing for the Arkansas Razorbacks. But, man, special talent, man. We're going to definitely miss him.
Mm-hmm.
But, guys, we got a lot to talk about. To kind of lead things off, as always, we have to hand the baton to Stephen N. Smith. He's the guy in the press conferences causing problems, having Nick Saban cuss him out. So
for no reason.
why not feature the guy to start things out? Because we got a lot to kind of piggyback off of. Stephen and Smith, we got the depth chart.
All right, so as Justin just mentioned, I'm outside of the Malmore building from the Coach Saban press conference. Coach just recently hopped in the Mercedes and drove away. This time, I was not cussed out in the press conference. Asked a question, did not get cussed out this time. Thank God. The last time I asked a good question, he still went off on me, but that's besides the point. That's besides the point there. But okay, that comment was really weird right there.
You got a groupie, Stephen. Come on, man.
Hey, sex symbol.
Yeah.
Get into the conversation. The scrimmage from over the weekend, y'all. Jalen Milroe did his thing. Jalen Milroe went out there and did his thing. I was told had 2 to 3 touchdown passes, went through his reads, progressions, was dropping dimes out there. Could have had a 3rd touchdown pass. Isaiah Bond couldn't hold on to it. He dropped it in the back of the end zone, but you're starting to see Jalen Milroe coming alive here in this Tommy Rees system, Tommy Rees offense, or the play calling of the play calling of Rees.
I'm trying to get girls too, bro. I'm trying to get girls too. Go ahead, do your job. Do your job.
That first scrimmage, Steve, your boy Jalen Milroe, 2 to 3 touchdown passes in that first scrimmage.
Oh my God!
It sounds like to me that he's Marvin. Come back to the camera, please.
Man, these glasses killing me.
Stop that,
Okay. I'll get girls some other way. Anyway, since we had a sex symbol just stealing my shine, it seems to me, man, that Jalen is pulling away on all accounts. But it's just it just amazes me how the fan base is like they're just not accepting it. I was watching another show, and I'm not going to say any names, but I sent you the link, and the guy was clear, like, well, we're not going to say he's ahead, but he's out there with the ones and this and that. They will not admit it. And then he went on to say, but Ty's going to catch him, and he's going to pass him. I'm like, dude, why are you saying this stuff? Just report what it is and give your opinion and keep it moving. And I never understood that. It seems like to me that our fan base is literally upset about this kid progressing. And I thought as a fan, that's what you want the players to do, is progress and develop and get better. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Steve. After about week 2, week 3, we'll have a better understanding. And it won't even be a point to argue because Middle Tennessee, not so much. But after we play Texas, whoever the better of the two is will emerge, and they'll separate themselves on their own. It will work itself out. That's the approach I'm taking.
Right.
Now, of course, guys, Coach Saban did have a big defining message in his press to the whole quarterback room today. He said, look, force me to play you. Force us as a coaching staff to play you. It's not about the coaches. It's not about you looking over your shoulder. If you want to play, grab our attention. So this is literally Coach Saban putting the ball in the quarterback's court. He's putting the ball right there. I'm passing it to you. It's up to you to take it and do something with it. So it was a good thing for Jalen Milroe this past Saturday, stacking the performance of, hey, coach, I can do this. Now, as we go into the second scrimmage on Saturday, can he have another performance like that? Because if he does, now you're really going to see, okay, Milroe's really starting to kind of pull away here. So Coach Saban is putting the ball in the quarterback room's court. If you want it, take it.
You know, when you make that point and you say Saban says make them play, that's a very true. That's about as accurate as it gets in football. Again, I was in a situation similar to this. Travis Carroll, he was ahead of me, all American, all everything. What did I do? I forced my way in, and Travis ended up transferring that next year because, again, you are the master of your own destiny. This thing will sort itself out by week 3. I guarantee you.
Wow.
And I don't think Jalen Milroe necessarily has to force his way on. He's just doing the right things. Impressive 80-yard touchdown drive at the scrimmage. Corey, you were there. You were on hand to witness everything. Of course, we're speculating, but you were able to see the young man operate. How was his confidence? How was his poise? What did you see from an eyewitness perspective about Jalen Saturday?
I mean, basically everything that you guys have already said. I mean, Coach Saban talked about he was solid. He's been my number one for day one. I will tell you like this, nothing changed that, in my opinion. Before I saw any kind of practice, nothing changed what I thought. Matter of fact, I would say I came away enhanced. And really, I said today on the Miller's Edge, I think Alabama fan base should relax with the quarterback situation because you're not going to have a quarterback problem. You're making this problem up in your own mind, right? What happens is, everybody when they went and got Tyler Buchner, and then all the speculation begins. Well, coach must not have confidence in Milroe or Ty Simpson that you got to go outside the box, bring in this guy from Notre Dame who's basically been replaced by Sam Hartman from Wake Forest who transferred to Notre Dame, and they didn't want him. Now we got him. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything, but there's another body in there to compete. It's not necessarily that Coach Saban don't believe in the guys that he himself recruited in Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe. Listen, Jalen Milroe could play, and it drives me crazy to Steve, to your point, that I said this on the radio. Listen, we still are in the age where if you're athletic or a black quarterback, they view you a certain way till you prove otherwise. Okay,
exactly.
You're a running quarterback. You can't throw, and what they really want to say a lot of times, you can't read defense. Okay, can I get an amen from the church? Thank you.
Insulting. Go. I'm sorry.
That's the reality. People are still stuck in that instead of saying, "Wow, this guy's gotten better." What I saw was a guy that can throw the ball better, a guy that had control of an offense, a guy that was confident because he should be. And so, doesn't mean I know who's going to be the starting quarterback, but I would suspect it's going to be Milroe the first game, something I already said. It's his job to lose.
Corey.
They got to beat him.
But Corey, let me say this too. That gets to me. It's like it's insulting his intelligence. Like he won't be able. Like he didn't have the ability to grow. He went from last year not being able to throw to now getting a lot better at his passes, reading defenses and all that. And it just says a lot to me. Maybe I'm buying into it too much, but it's like, well, Ty's gonna catch him and this and this and that. And these are people on these sites saying, well, Ty's gonna catch him by so I'm like, well, what are you saying? So you saying that this guy's not gonna be able to grow anymore? That's it. And to me, this guy has the higher ceiling. This guy is the size bigger than Tim Tebow. He's faster. He's a freak of nature. If this guy pulls it all together, he's going to be a problem. I mean, like a real problem. I'm looking at the upside.
The other thing that he has to guard against is protecting the football. We know because Coach Saban's deal. Like you can't turn it over. You can't make mistakes. Get them out of a bad play into a good play, that type of thing. You guys know that. Bo knows that you guys play for Saban. Christian knows. I mean, that's going to be his thing. It's not the ability. I mean, he can read defenses. He can throw it. He can all over every throw. I've seen him do it. I mean, so he just got to be confident, as Coach Saban said. Listen, take it by the bull by the horns. Go play football. Don't get caught up in all the outside noise. And we all are going to talk about it because QB1 is what we love quarterback controversy. People, media love that. They love to talk about it. It's a story because we don't have nothing to gauge right now. There's no game, so we gotta find something, right?
Well,
but I'll say this that I said on our show this morning. You don't have to worry about the quarterback room. You got quarterbacks that can play. I like the freshman. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I like the long. I'm not saying his name correctly, but that dude has some. That dude just to me has it. He's smart. He gets you in and out of the right play. He doesn't make mistakes. He has a good arm. I mean, we sitting there looking at these other guys. I would be aware of this guy because sometimes when you got a guy that has zero pressure, just kind of sitting there going, okay, y'all keep on, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm going to do. And I really expect he may get some snaps against Middle Tennessee State. So I don't think the job will really be defined until after that game for sure. And if that guy gets the job and he goes out there against Texas and he's struggling, guess what? Coach Saban, Christian and I talked about this, just like Jalen and Tua, or either way, Coach Saban got 2-3 guys that he can say, you know what, if this guy don't have it today, I can go with this guy. That's kind of how I see this situation working out. This guy got a set of skill sets that takes us to a whole other level in the running game in Jalen Milroe. But let me just tell you, that dude is fast as lightning. And he can throw a 60, 70-yard bomb on you, too, if you're sleeping, right? I can get that RPO, suck you up, bottom line. He going to hit you with a deep dig or post corner behind that dig, and he'll put it where it's supposed to be. He can do that, too. Well, I mean, you just should want the best quarterback. That's all. Whoever is the leader, the best guy, the locker room supports, roll with that guy, whomever that is.
You are correct, but I'll tell you this. I am happy that Buchner is here. Seasoned veteran. He's been in battles. Comes from a great program, Notre Dame. And he's going to make our defense play so much better as the scout team quarterback.
Well, they got some other QB for that. But, listen, I think it's funny because Christian and I heard that I'm going to McElroy pretty hard today because he said that Tyler Buchner is going to be the starter. And, like, he is the quarterback whisperer. I mean, dude, you are the Trent Dilfer of college football. You got a championship because everybody else around you was great. Yeah, I said.
I just got one question for you, though. The way you looked at me when I said I'm happy Buckner's here, y'all about to kill me.
Oh, bro,
Go ahead, Justin.
Your squares are taken off.
Go ahead, Justin.
You know, the way I look at it, let these people say that Ty Simpson is going to catch up. Let these people say he's on his heels. Why do I say that? Because Jalen Milroe is a competitor. That will make him go even harder, even stronger to continually separate himself from the pack. And listen, the wide receivers aren't doing their job. Let's not forget that right now. And if the wide receivers are struggling, a quarterback like Jalen Milroe, who was a dynamite, waiting to explode, big play ability type guy, he can use those legs to counteract what's not happening in the wide receiver room. We forget what we saw against Arkansas last year. How do Bama fans forget how he went to a hostile environment, took things over, and burned Arkansas with his decision-making and his running? And then when Arkansas's defense figured things out, they started creeping up. Then he was able to capitalize off that by giving the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs for not one, but two 70-plus yard gains. There's a lot of different formations and schemes that can be used with his skill set. I don't understand, Bama fans, why you're neglecting that fact.
Until you are the starter and you get those reps, you will never be in a position to play at the highest level. When you come in as a backup, you are truly a backup. So, again, that game plan all season is dictated to whoever that starter is. So, as a backup, you have to fit into that. Now that he's a starter, that game plan will be tailored to his skill set and will allow him to maximize himself. That's what people don't understand. You can't base what he did off last season because, again, he was doing what Bryce had to do, not what Jalen would do.
But you know what? You know what excites me more than anything? And I know Bo is probably ready to sink his teeth in. Y'all, that running back room is loaded. And let me tell you something. The guy I forgot his name, and I sincerely apologize for forgetting his name. But the guy the guy that got the bruised thigh.
Oh, Jam Miller.
Jam Miller. Let me tell y'all something. Don't sleep. I didn't even know about this dude, but don't sleep on him. I looked him up. He got the size, the speed. He looks like a bigger version of Josh Jacobs. Bo, you want to talk about that, man?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Both smiling like, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
Bo,
that.
yeah,
You see that look in his
Bo,
face? Is
Bo ready to get naked. He want just talk about it. He ain't got to take clothes
See,
off.
but
Bo.
we actually got a whole stable of these guys that all you gotta do is just let the gate up one by one, and it's just like another after another with a different skill set with a little bit of everything that all the other running back have with each other, and that's what I like about this running back room. They is young and is old at the same time, and these guys is going balls to the wall, man. Like it's crazy. Like it's like the old running back room when Coach Brown went down when TJ Derrick and Alvin and all them boys was there, and that's how that room look right now. It's gonna like if we play all three of these guys, our run game is gonna be off the chain. Like we're gonna be hard to stop if we can throw the ball and open up the run game for the running backs. It's gonna be day and night.
And that's where it starts.
Hey, Justin, you know something though? I've heard and I've read that possibly Alabama has the deepest running back room in the country, and I believe it.
But it does not matter if we cannot pass the ball, because if you cannot pass, I'm putting 8-9 in the box, and I'm taking all that away.
That's why I say if we can pass the ball, open up the run game. Like Coach Saban talked about it. If you're a receiver, and what you do, catch the ball. That's your job.
Right. And so this is my opinion. I think a lot of people, I think Coach Saban is using the whole quarterback thing as a smokescreen to throw people off of what he's really got.
mm-hmm.
And if these receivers don't want to catch on, Bama got these tight ends. One of those tight ends, Amari Niblack from South Florida, is ready to pop. I mean, 6'4", 245 pounds, bigger, physical, mismatch, athletic. People have kind of been waiting on him. Niblack's had a really good camp car touchdown pass in the scrimmage. This guy can play. He can flat play. He can play. Dupree can play. Danny Lewis can play. Steve's guy, Robbie Oots, can flat out play. But this tight end room, these wide receivers don't watch it, but tight ends are going to take over.
Well, who's the quarterback's best friend? Who's the quarterback's best friend?
Tight end.
I'm sorry.
The tight ends, right? So when you got a guy that maybe has limited experience, yeah, I'm in concert with you. That room looks good. And I mean, it's kind of like they got the big physical bruising tight end, the inbox we call the wide tight end on the line of scrimmage. And then they got the athletic, smaller guy that they're going to move it. We call the move tight end, that they put him in space. They motion him around, line him in the slot, get him isolated on safeties and or linebackers, and work him down the seam. But what we like to call a cover 2 buster. They got that guy. I mean, so they can line up in 12 personnel. They can line up in 13 personnel. You talk about both talking about those backs and hammer you. You know, and that's I think what you want to see now. You're not going to see what they're going to do during the season in the scrimmage. That's why I want people to understand. It's generic. It's kind of like Steve Brown's opening when he got introduced. It's bland. It's generic. I mean, it's just basic orange juice. Ain't nothing fancy, right? It's just, hey, let's just run a lead play. Let's just run an RPO. Let's run the outside zone. There ain't no counters. There's not play action passes off of it. In scrimmages, it's basic. We talked about it today. They reset it, right? You get third down, they don't make it. They reset, flop some people in there. Boom. So it wasn't like some game situation type scrimmage. So let's understand that first. It's basic. Bo, we all know, right? We've been in practice and scrimmages. It's pretty basic. And it was 2,000 degrees out there. Christian was down on the sideline. I had no motivation to go. It was so hot. I thought I saw the devil standing out there with the chains. I mean, I stayed up in the box in the air conditioning. But listen, so I wouldn't take too much out of this first scrimmage. I think this next one, Steve Smith, is going to be the most valuable one. I think we're going to get a lot more things answered after Saturday, because now you got to shift gears. Now you got to start talking about get guys going back to class. Now you get in that game preparation, game week prep, that type of thing, getting your depth chart right, other guys getting more snaps where they're supposed to. So this he would say a lot more than the first scrimmage.
That's what's up.
And Corey, you're right. You're dead right. It's always that second scrimmage is a bit more important because now you're starting to build up your depth chart. Who's going to get the reps with the ones at each position? And then kind of that final Saturday practice is basically a walkthrough, getting you ready for game week. So this scrimmage, this practice Saturday is going to be the big one.
Steve, how do you breathe with your glasses on your nose like that? How do you put some back out, man?
I find a way to do it, bro. I find a way to do it.
Shut up, Marvin.
My whole life.
He probably finds a way just like you do with that halter top on, Marvin.
Hey, for real though. Steve, I got you on your intros, man. I got you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hey,
go ahead, Justin.
Corey, we got a question for you from the audience, from Lucian. Got a defensive question for the Pastor of Pain. What are 3 things you need to see from that front 7 to show that they are committed to the process?
LaShawn, that's pretty. I like that spelling, man. I'm glad, Steve, you ain't got to do that. That was pretty hard, right? But listen, I think for me, the biggest disappointment for Alabama defense the last 2 years has been the play of the defensive line. I think, we talk about the offense, we talk about all that, but really it's been the defense. And for me, I want to see them what we like to call play on the other side of the line of scrimmage. I don't like defensive linemen dancing with offensive linemen, reading and then reacting. I like taking the fight to the offense. I like imposing our will defensively on the offense. That means coming across. That means I play the run on the way to sacking quarterback. That means penetration. That means getting in the backfield, stopping backs before they get guy like Bo Scarborough, 230 pounds. If he gets down here, Derrick Henry, them dudes like that, if you allow them to get some speed, those shoulders get north-south, you got trouble. But what they're not, no disrespect to Derrick or Bowen, they're not shifty backs. So when you got guys like that we're seeing now, we need penetration. That's one thing, penetration. Number 2, I need to see better tackling from the linebacker position. I need to see better run fits. Too many times we had 2 guys in the same gap. Run integrity, defensive integrity was bad, right? Guys are all over the place. And then third, to me, about the process, you talk about the Bama standard, it's discipline, communication. How many penalties did we have last year? How many mental errors did they have defensively in the secondary? A veteran secondary with guys branch, battle. These guys are playing on Sunday right now, giving up bombs to Tennessee and other folks. Why? Missed assignments. So, playing the run a lot better, imposing their will on the offensive line. Run fits out of the linebackers, having run gap integrity. And then 3, will they be more disciplined? All sides, jumping off sides, giving them a free 5 yards, automatic first downs. So I believe if they do that, which with Kevin Steele, they will. That's one thing I've heard how they practice. He's not going to allow it. And the defense took on the personality, guys, of their coach, Pete Gold. All of us who play ball know you take on the personality of your coach, right? You're going to be who your coach is. Well, what was the coach last year? Soft. He didn't hold accountable. He let mistakes just happen over and over and over and over again. And so, therefore, they played like that. So, this year, no, it won't be none of that. If you're not doing your job, they're going to put somebody else in there that wants to do their job.
Quick question. Did you see that one kid linebacker came out today and said he loves the sound of Coach Steele's voice and how he motivates them? That is the thing that I have been waiting to hear for the longest because, again, we've had Pete for all those years, and there was no motivation. And how long have I been saying that these kids play to the personality of their coach? In order for this trophy to come back to Tuscaloosa, it starts and it stops with that defense. And they need to go out there, like I said last week, and be the enforcers. Put your foot on their neck, keep it on their neck. Because whether people like it or not, with Kevin Steele as our defensive coordinator, that championship trophy, it's running through the streets of Tuscaloosa. It ain't going to be Athens. Florida, Georgia.
Okay, guys, so let me ask y'all something. Let me ask a question for Justin.
Hold on one second, though. Because here's the thing about Mr. Miller, he hit a very valid point that I wanted to talk about with linebackers out of gaps. A lot of times we did have that. And in a lot of cases, one was in there with his eyes closed. No defensive back can cover all day. So that makes the entire unit look bad.
Right. So let me ask y'all this, and I want y'all to all chime in on this real quick. Justin, you can go first, so y'all can chime in at the same time. I was wondering, okay, the players were saying they like to hear of Coach Steele's voice and makes them want to play football. So I was wondering, I would just go get him. Do I sound?
You sound like you belong in Athens, okay? You can go motivate the puppies over there, because whether the Georgia fan base like it or not, the trophy is coming back to T-Town through the streets of Tuscaloosa. Listen, only thing that's going to happen in Athens is they're going to be back in the Athens City Jail on probation or parole by the time we got to play them anyway, so we'll be fine.
Justin, take it away, sir. Take it away, Justin.
Finish your thought real quick, Stephen.
I got to see this picture, Marvin, because before practice started, the whole defense is around Kevin Steele in this photo, and it looked like it looked like a shot from 300. Like they all ready to go out there and just destroy everything. Like Kevin Steele's in the middle, and all of these guys just about to roam the field and kill everybody.
Go get him!
I'm gonna tell you this one last thing. Mr. Miller and his son Corey, they can attest to this. Christian and Corey, they can attest to this.
You can ask him right there. Go ahead.
Both of them can tell you, as a defensive player, do you not play to the personality of your coordinator?
You do. You typically do. I agree.
Christian, go get him!
No, that ain't it.
No.
You sound like the head cheerleader coach.
Right.
Oh, dang.
Sound like it's nuts in a vice.
Oh, he wasn't ready. The spirit squad, man.
But what people don't understand is how important it is. Say it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. If you're not motivating those guys to go out there, you're not going to get the results you want. It's the little things that matter the most, and that's one of the smallest things that has the most impact.
But that's what I'll say about my time. Like when I think back on like in the locker room, like pregame, the coaches that really motivated us, by the name a few, would be Kirby Smart. I mean, he would be annoying, you know what I mean? He'd be jumping you and getting on you, but it worked though. He would be smacking his hands, cussing us out, but he would have us ready to go. And then Bo Davis, the defensive line coach. I mean, if anybody heard his pregame speeches, I mean, he could have anybody ready to run through a brick wall, even Steve Brown, even though he's soft like Charmin.
Go get him!
No,
but that's right though. I mean, I look at those kind of guys, and that's exactly what we had, and it worked. And those are the guys that raise those dogs. I mean, we talk about guys like Jonathan Allen, Ashawn, and yeah, those guys were dogs when they got here. But when you have the leadership like from Bo Davis and even Kirby or Jeremy Pruitt, guys that just love ball, they eat, sleep, and breathe football. They don't care about nothing else. They just they hound on those things. Even Kevin Steele, he was like that with that linebacker group in 2014. You need those type of coaches. So I agree 100%, and I think that's exactly what they've been lacking.
Go get them.
Got a question from the audience here. Tobias, question for the panel. Is the number of returning starters overrated if the younger guys are better than the departing guys? I'm especially talking about last year's Marvin's fave middle linebacker.
Listen, man, I'm a firm believer. Play the best kid, whether it's the freshman, the junior, the fifth-year senior. I'm going to put the best person I can on the field. And I'm looking forward to see some of these younger guys because based upon what we've had last year and the year before, if that's the best product we had to put on the field, then no, I don't have confidence in those juniors and seniors that are still there. Why didn't you take the job last year? So, yeah, I'm going to give those young guys a chance.
Well, to you gotta understand something. To the middle linebacker we had last year, I think he was more knowledgeable of the playbook than anybody else. So I think that he won his time on the field that way. He certainly wasn't a physical linebacker, but that's how he was. He was the leader of the defense, and he knew all the plays and everything else. But did he put people in the right positions? And was he aggressive? No, but from what I read, he knew everything. So
but nobody else knew it. Nobody else knew it.
You are correct, but
look how many mistakes that everybody else was making. That means the middle linebacker has the job to, one, get that defensive front lined up correctly, make sure they are in their right gaps, and then number two, he has to communicate with the safeties, most importantly too, for their run fit and in their pass drops. Whether you're going to the hook or am I buzzing out to the flat or boom, I'm going to have robber coverage. Am I going to come down and take the crossing tight end? They have to be constant communication. It's critical. But I'm not going to hate on him because the man is right now fighting for a job in Houston. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. But listen, I don't put all that on him. I put it on the coach, right?
Me too.
Allow these guys to continue to make the same mistakes. It's a problem. That's what Coach Saban was talking about, preaching and yelling at these guys. Now, get them to have the mindset that they don't think so much. They just react and go do what they're supposed to do. They got to get back to that. If you go back and watch Bowles, Christian, this guy, I don't go back to Marvin. That's a lot of film. But so you watch how they played in 15 and 16, 17. These dudes, one, had an attitude. They had a purpose. They played ball the right way. They loved it. You know, the last couple of years, I'm just sorry, they were soft. Bama defense was soft. Look at defense last year, 2 years ago even, compared to what Georgia is. That tells you the mindset of who's leading the defense, right? Because they took on the persona of the coach. And Alabama was soft. They helping guys up. They missing tackles. They act like they didn't care when they give up big plays. Nobody's over there yelling and screaming and cussing somebody out. I wanted to see somebody punch somebody, turn over the Gatorade, act like you care about losing, that this bothers you. Nobody did. Because they were trying to get to the league. Well, you know, come on, man. You got to love the game. You got to care about it. You got things like that should pee you off when you make mistakes, and you got to hold each other accountable. They didn't do that, but I can promise you and assure you this, that's going to happen this season.
And I can tell you one more thing. You hit it on the head. Yes, they play to the personality of their coach. But when you get on that field general is that middle linebacker. And that defense plays to the personality of that linebacker on the field. He should be the enforcer. He's the one who sets the tone. If your middle linebacker isn't the most physical person on your defense, you got a problem. You look at all those defenses you just talked about, and you look at those linebackers, the Dante Hightowers, the Reuben Fosters, all those guys. They were the enforcer on the field.
Absolutely.
I flipped over the Gatorade bottle on the sideline because I was angry, but they didn't catch that on camera.
Hell no.
Well, guys, we have to turn to our next segment, but before I do that, we got a Georgia fan who stirred up, Marvin, because what you and the pastor have talked about. Adrian Eccles, I'll bet you win or if you make it, Marvin Constant, they'll stomp y'all. Go Dogs. So I'll let you jump on that, and then we're gonna move to our.
Can I say this? And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. And as a football fan and an ex-football player that rarely played, I will say this: it's a thing called pride. If I was a Georgia fan, I wouldn't be saying a damn thing about nothing with the schedule y'all have. That is absolutely absurd. Y'all shouldn't. Y'all schedule is the easiest. Y'all schedule is easier than some of these Division II schedules. Y'all schedule is a cakewalk. So please stop talking about go Dogs and this and that when y'all ain't playing nobody. This is the weakest schedule I've seen in college football since I've been watching college football.
They open up with Hogwarts, then they play Mitchell's Cosmetology College the following week. So yeah, it's a pretty tough schedule. Yeah.
Central.
Hey, quick shout out to William Morris, Big Bill, $5 super chat. Man, we appreciate that.
I got one thing for Georgia. You got fast cars.
Oh my God.
You know, listen, them dudes fast down there, bro. They fast. I mean, they run fast on the field. They drive fast. I mean, I don't even know if you're gonna have enough players to play. I mean, all these citations they keep getting 95 and 45, 85 and 35. You know what I mean? Somebody need to teach these brothers that those big signs called the speed limit, they up there for a reason.
Wow.
That's not the Autobahn.
Listen, I told you, by the time the SEC championship come around, half of them going to be doing community service. So I don't know if they'll be able to play.
Wow.
All right, folks. Well, we appreciate that. But now we got to turn it over to one of our best and newest segments, and that is the Bama Standard top fan segment. That's where we give it back to you, the fans who make this show popular, make this show pop, where we bring on somebody every week to ask the panel or an individual questions. This week's winner is actually one of the leading ladies of Alabama Twitter. That's Kelly Weathersby. Welcome in.
Hi, Kelly. Welcome to my show and these guys.
Hello. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Kelly, before you ask any questions, did they prep you and let you know that I was a star of the show? They did let you know that, right?
Well, yes, and all was well and fine until I had to start fangirling because Christian came on and you just went away, and I'm sorry. I was only going to do his brother, and then Christian shows up, and here I am, and there you go, and I'll bring you back in, though. It's okay.
Kelly, tell them who wants to look at a minivan when they can look at a Corvette.
Kelly, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Wait a minute. I'm a Mini Cooper. I'm a Mini Cooper.
Not the same as a Corvette, man. Not the same.
My 71-year-old mother drives one of those.
71-year-old mother drives one of those. Wow. Well, Kelly, this is your time to shine. So I know you got some questions to ask, so I will turn it over to you. What do you got for that first question?
Okay, well, before I start, first of all, thanks so much for having me on. I am way tickled. I'll get over my deflation of the fact that I wasn't the first one last week, but that's okay. I'm old and don't have that many followers and not quite as cute as Courtney is, but that's okay. She had a very neat little segment, and thanks so much again. Preacher, I'm going to tell you, you had me ready to run through a wall about 2 minutes ago, so you preach on that D anytime because that is exactly what all of us fans are feeling. So that leads me to my first question. Since most of these quarterbacks, and I don't want to talk about who is going to be the quarterback because it's irrelevant at this moment, but most of them, or if not all of them, are right-handed. So what are your thoughts on the left tackle position?
Who wants to take that first? Well, Pastor Payne, go ahead.
Steven?
I think Steven gonna take it. Go ahead, Steven.
Okay, that's a good question. Left tackle. Right now, I really like Caden Proctor, the freshman. I think he's done a phenomenal job so far. 6'7". The guy's doing well. All the older guys are raving about him. Me personally, I would like to see Saban take J.C. Latham and move him to left tackle, simply because Latham has added 25 pounds, so he wants to protect the quarterback also. But Saban may keep Latham on the right side, which means Caden Proctor could more than likely be your left tackle. Big guy, strong guy, athletic guy, and I trust him protecting the blind side of Milroe, Simpson, whichever one of these two comes out here at quarterback.
Understandable. Christian and Corey, what are your thoughts? I know y'all been watching here lately, especially this past Saturday. What's your take?
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't talk too much on that because it's close, but I would just say in general, I agree with Steven in terms of you want your best tackle at the left tackle position when you have a right-handed quarterback. The only thing is it's not always the easiest transition for a guy to switch sides. A lot of guys talk about how difficult it is playing the other side. You know, it's not like defensive end. I can go rush off the left side, the right side. I felt more comfortable on one side versus the other, but it's a lot easier to switch over than at tackle. But that being said, I almost would say I'd probably stick with Caden Proctor if that's who you feel most comfortable with right now. However, in my opinion, you know, when you have a true freshman at left tackle, I mean, there's going to be growing pains. I mean, I watched Cam Robinson, Boca in the test. Cam was way beyond his years, you know, development speaking when he got here, but he still, you know, had to, you know, develop and get to that level. But if I'm being honest with you, there's not many guys like Cam Robinson. I don't even know if I would necessarily say Proctor's there just yet because Cam not only had the size of an elite tackle, but he also had the footwork, you know, the hands. I mean, like I said, you ask Bo. I mean, Cam, you looked at Cam And he was one of those guys, like, you knew he was going to be that guy, right? And
Right.
there's not many of those guys out there. And so that being said, I would just urge you to be patient with a guy like Caden Proctor, because it's going to take some time for him to develop. And just watching him, man, I mean, when you get to Alabama, it's a big adjustment going from playing high schoolers to now you're lining up against Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, but that's only going to make him better. So if I was Alabama, I would put him in there and get him as many first-team reps against those edge rushers right now in fall camp. That way, when the season comes, he has ample amount of experience going against some of the best rushers in the country, and that way he's as prepared as can be. But I think that's not a bad idea, Stephen. I mean,
I actually like that idea myself.
I like it too.
I mean, I said that today talking to somebody that I would probably move JC over.
Yeah.
And put Proctor at the right tackle position, because I think it's an easier transition for a young player on the offensive line. I mean, offensive line is the hardest position to transition, if you will, from high school to college. I mean, it's difficult. Size, strength, footwork, and just understanding concepts of pass rushing and passing off and all these games that you're going to get. So it gets a little difficult, but I think Proctor's an amazing talent, and I think, as Christian alluded to, playing against Dallas and Braswell, these guys, is going to help him, because he's not going to see too many guys as good as those two. So I think they're going to be okay.
That's not an easy position to play, though. Not at all. A lot of people don't understand how difficult it is. I had the pleasure of watching one of the best in Alabama history do it, Chris Samuels. And week in and week out, you're talking about blocking Mike Peterson, Javon Curse, Alex Brown, and he made it look easy. But that was because of his footwork and his IQ. So whoever it is, they're going to have a high IQ and great footwork, man, because that position is not easy to play by no means. And I wouldn't want to be down there.
Hey, quick shout out to Don Parker, $5 super chat. Roll Tide from this, man. We appreciate you. Bo, since you had a close relationship with Cam, man, what are your thoughts on it? What do you speak to this situation? Have you been able to watch Caden Proctor, or can you just go based on your own experience?
Yeah, I just go based on my own experience. Like Christian said, Cam Robinson, he was just different, He was a guy that came straight in and was starting from the jump. Like spring practice, Cam was already running with the ones, and he was a early enrollee at Alabama. And like Christian said, Cam also had the feet work for the position at the time, because left tackle is a blind spot position, and you got to be, you got to be on point when you're playing that position. You got to know what you're doing at the time. And like Christian said, I keep him over there and see what he do.
But how confident would you be at having a freshman? Because you all know, if you got a speed rusher who has a good first step and he also has a nice spin move and he can attack that inside, that's hard for a freshman.
Yeah, but like Christian said, let him line up against the Turner guys, and so he can be used to that already, and his experience will go up, because he'd been in practices so much that it's the same as him playing against the good guy on the other side of the ball at practice.
I like Christian's point too, because number one, everybody already says he has that it factor. The it factor. He coming in as a freshman, he has the it factor. So he's practicing against Dallas Turner and all these other guys. He's going to be way before his time, even more. He's going to be just as good, just probably even better, lining up against other defensive ends and defensive linemen. So I'm with Christian all the way on that one.
Quick shout out to
you always can scheme, right? We just talked about the tight end room. A lot of different bodies in that tight end room. You can always line a tight end up over there when you're an outside rusher's edge guy. You can chip with the back. So, it's all about scheming and who you're playing. If you got some concerns one week with a guy, you know that you're going to have to help him out, then don't leave him on an island. The dumbest thing coaches do sometimes, your tackle is struggling, and they won't give him no help. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And just sit there and let your quarterback get killed. Some guy ruins your whole offensive identity. So, again, I think with Tommy Rees' utilization of tight ends, we've seen that at Notre Dame. We know he's going to use them. So if you got a young guy like Proctor, I would like to think that they will chip or, with tight end and or back to help him out. So I feel good, though, about the offensive line, Kelly. I think, these guys are talented and big. They preaching physicality. They're going to preach running the football. So I don't think you're going to see him just, you know, if Bryce Young was there sitting back and just throwing the ball all over the yard, you're going to have a lot of runs. You know, they're going to try to keep things third down and short and help the entire offense.
Hey, quick shout out to Jamie Wilhelm, $4.99 super chat, Roll Tide. We appreciate everybody in the chat,
Roll
especially
Tide.
these super chats from every one of y'all. So, Kelly, are you satisfied with what these men offered as an explanation to your question?
I'm not. I just want her to see I look better than Christian.
Really?
You got it, man. You got it.
It's cold in here.
You built like a wet roll of toilet tissue. Man, go put your shirt back on.
All right, there you go. All right. What's your next question, Kelly, for these these guys who are fighting over who looks the best? Kelly, what's your next question for these men?
Look like she's on mute.
No, it's unmuted right now. Steve, is she using your internet again? Like
I
Courtney
think
did
so.
last week?
I think so. It's a little jealousy thing. When she said Christian looked better than me, I froze her.
Oh, Steve. Oh.
I'm the star of this show.
Oh, man, I tell you, power
Hey, we-
goes to your head.
Hey, we went to look at Sport Coach today, and the guy had to measure me. You know, I tried to tell him I was 56 long, and so Christian went in there, you know, as he always is, gunned up. There's always a gun show. I try to let him know Pops had him though. I told him I used to carry about 22s on my side, and so he didn't believe me. But I measured these things out there, Marvin, at 21, still at 55, bro. What you got? What you got? Them little BBs over there.
Oh, we still holding now. We still holding.
He's around 20.
Nah, Marvin not 20. He about 17.
No.
We still holding.
I'm going to push pause on the Mr. Olympia. So, Kelly, what's your next question so that we can stop the Mr. Olympia contest here and get back to football?
See, I knew that would come up. Vanity is a wonderful thing, isn't it? Especially with football players. Okay, so all right. So for from a fan's perspective, and all of you, I hope would be able to contribute to this.
Oh, we lost her again.
Am I back?
Temporarily, Steve, quit pushing that button. Give it another try, Kelly.
Hey, Justin.
Yes, sir.
Next time when we invite guests, can you make sure they pay their internet bills, please? Because this is ridiculous. The last one she froze up, and as a matter of fact, she's still on here frozen, and now you got another one. Kelly, can you hear us?
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know. Kelly's connection isn't so well.
Okay, from a fan's perspective, I'd like for you to maybe let us know how easy or how difficult it is to get in extra reps after the scheduled practice for a player. There's a lot of attention on the wide receivers and the drops, and Devonta Smith was really good about mentioning how he would stay for that extra 100 catches on the jug machine. So I was just wondering, is it difficult?
That was great.
Bo, you want that? Or Steven?
Why don't you start out?
Is it
and then-
difficult for a player to
I
get
can go first.
extra reps?
I think it has a lot to do with the determination of wanting to be better. That's what I think. I mean, that's just. Go ahead, Mark.
No,
I can hear you.
It comes back to the position you play. That's the most accurate answer I can give you. So for an offensive player, yes, it might be the jug machine. It might be running routes. For a defensive player, it's going to probably be more a film study and getting in that playbook to understand what I need to look for in terms of matchup and who we're playing, because you got to see it and visualize it. That was one of the things that I always used to do. I would always study film of my opponent, and then I would visualize scenarios in my head. It wasn't something that I could physically go out and do after practice. I had to see it and run it through my mind. Again, offense versus defense is two different approaches.
Let me just say this. The jug machine is overrated. It's
How many
overrated.
times you got hit by it?
I mean, not listen, it's overrated. I mean, because when you catch the ball in real game situations, it's not, I'm just going to sit there and the jug machine going to hit you right in the hands. Or listen, you got to contort your body. You're going to have guys draped over you. I mean, somebody's coming down here, that safety, to knock your ear hole off. I mean, it's overrated. I just think it's confidence. Listen, Coach Saban said it. You play receiver. What are you supposed to do? Catch, right?
So Mr. Miller, I thought the jug machine was pretty much to help hand-eye coordination. Am I correct? Am I wrong? Educate us on that.
That's part of it. I mean, but at the same time, listen.
There's benefits.
I mean, I think you're better off catching the ball from your quarterback, running routes than the jug machine.
Gotcha.
Here we go. Right.
Gotcha.
Okay. Run routes. Run routes. Do more 7-on-7. Do more man 1-on-1. Right. And then make sure those things are contested. And then it's like a field goal kicker. You got to build confidence, or a golfer. You can't. I think for these kids, it's mindset. It's their mentality. And it's just building back their confidence. And listen, you're a 4 or 5-star for a reason. Go out there and just get your confidence. Know that you can play, catch the ball, protect the ball, run with it, do your thing. I said this morning, I like the receivers at Alabama. I like Brooks. I like all these kids. Bond. I like all of these. They got a lot of talent, a lot of speed, some possession guys, some space guys like Bond. They're not bad. I mean, and coaches sometimes say something and then we take it and run with it, don't we? Like Stephen Smith would take Coach Saban saying we had some drops, and he might write a story on TD, Alabama magazine that, like they drop balls all day. Right, Steve? I mean,
something else.
I was just saying what Coach saying.
Listen, the coach may not say that they had 25 great catches. He's just going to say, and I'm not talking about Coach Saban, I'm just saying coach in general, that we had some drop balls. And what do? Is we take that thing and we run with it just like we can't catch a common cold. All right, you guys can't catch nothing.
I think the worst thing you can do, though, from what I've seen, is run an excellent route and drop the ball. I think that is like the most disheartening thing ever to me. Run an excellent route, you stick in at the right time, and then you get a great ball and you drop the ball. So to me, again, I agree with what you're saying, Mr. Miller, about confidence. I think it's all about confidence.
Bo, what's your take on it? I know you're a guy who always believed in going the extra mile as far as preparation and discipline, that's what it takes to be able to make those plays, is not only receivers but running backs as well. What's your feel on it?
Far as running back, you really can't do really extra work on your position besides some agility work, as far as like ladders, hurdles, stuff like that. But far as like getting a rep, it ain't gonna make sense unless you just going through your step progression. That's it, and sprint down the field maybe 5 yards. But like it's no realistic thing out there. But the only thing that a running back can possibly do is agility work, and like Marvin said, for the defense, watch some film. Now with the receivers, that's a totally different ball game because they run routes all day and they can stay after and run routes all day and still get the same amount of work that they got in practice. They're getting more reps of the day, like a game, instead of doing it on even though they're doing it on air, they still running full speed, catching the ball, opposed to the running back don't have an offensive line, don't have a defensive line to read nothing off of. So a running back can't practice his read reps. That's why you can watch more film.
Hey, let Champion asked a question about Shaz Preston, and it's a good thing you brought that up because he's actually one of the wide receivers right now who is turning heads. This is a guy who has great instincts, spatial awareness. He can track the ball in the air very well, great body control, a guy who can also win that 50-50 battle. You can line him up at any kind of position on the field. He can do a myriad of things. He's great in the screen game, short routes, and even vertically. And if you had to compare him to anybody, you could look at Tylan Wallace, who was with Oklahoma State in the college and now with the Ravens. But he's starting to turn heads a little bit. Maybe this is a precursor to for things to come in that wide receiver room. It's anybody's ball game right now. Kelly, I'll let you ask one last question for these guys before we turn you loose. I'm sure you've got a great one, so go ahead.
Thank you. And Steve, I'm sorry. I am in the country a little bit, and I did pay my bill. It's just your head is so shiny, it's blocking my signal. Now, when I was listening to Kevin Steele speak the other day in the press conference, I was really, really tickled. And I've heard little chatter about how when the guys mess up on the defense, they'll have to do up, downs, up, downs, up, downs. And boy, did that make me happy. So I was wondering, as players, do things like that, having to perform extra little moments of work in your workouts and the scheduled practice, when one messes up, does that cause the rest of the team to begin to hold those people accountable so that there are less things like the penalties? Because you remember in the 2011 championship game against LSU, our first penalty didn't come until the fourth quarter. And last year we had 19 in one game. And as Nick says, that's the quickest way to lose the game. So I was just wondering if things like extra up downs and extra work during practice because of somebody is motivation to help create more focus.
We'll start with Bo and then go on to Marvin.
I would say from a leader standpoint, they should already be holding each other accountable. I would say that if they make a mistake, it'll be something that they did going full speed and that they don't know it, that they have to be stopped and told, like, hey, this is the correct thing to do. But as far as doing up downs, I just think that it just make everybody just shut up and listen and buy into the program and do what they're supposed to do instead of doing it their own way and seeing that it's not working. So it has its pros and cons to it, but as far as like me, I'm a guy that I'm gonna hold you accountable from the beginning. So we're gonna have to do up down.
Yeah, we used to have to do those when I was at South Carolina. I mean, up downs were just miserable. Jolie Dunn, fire defense is what we called it, and I mean we had to do a $110 of them after practice anyway. It didn't matter, but any kind of discipline like that, from mistakes, it definitely makes you think, right? It makes you stay focused. That's what it's for. It's just that because you don't want extra running, extra drills. So you'll focus or you'll think about what you're supposed to do when you get out there. So I don't have a problem with it. It's kind of still high schoolish to me at this level. You should put in the time to work, be accountable to yourself and to your teammates regardless. But I think, some of these young guys need that. Unfortunately, they come from high school programs, maybe not as disciplined. They just got away based on talent. Well, now you can't do that, right? You can't make these little mistakes that cost you big games. And so I think it just serves as a constant reminder, Kelly, that do the right thing. And he has, like you alluded to, all those penalties in the one game. They're looking at all of that. They're looking at all of that, why they weren't successful. And that's a big one. Lack of discipline. And that's what mental errors is, lack of discipline. And they were just an undisciplined football team last year, something we haven't seen, I haven't at least, under the Nick Saban era. So they got to get back again to the Bama standard, no pun intended there. But if they're going to be dominant, successful, championship-minded again, I think these things are necessary.
I'm with Bo, though, in terms of, like, holding each other accountable. Like, I mean, I understand the up downs, and that's more just kind of it's a nuisance to do, right? But like when we were on the team, like you held yourself accountable because you had a sense of pride. But you can ask Bo, like I always say this stuff, and it sounds like a broken record, but it's true. Like when they said jog off the field, that meant jog off the field. That didn't mean jog until the last inch. That didn't mean jog until the last piece of grass. That means jog your ass off the field. And so our level of discipline and accountability was unparalleled. You know, that was non-negotiable, right? Like we didn't care if it was Ruben, John Allen. We didn't care who it was. If you didn't jog off the field, you were going to be told to jog off the field. And so, like, I get up downs are cool, but realistically, number one, you should have a sense of pride for yourself, and two, you as a group should hold each other accountable. Coach Saban always says this is the players' team. Like, ask Bo. Like, he brings in the leadership group, he discusses his thoughts, what he's feeling, what he feels needs to be shared, but then it's on us to go relay what we feel needs to be relayed to the rest of the team. And so up downs are cool, running laps is cool, but most importantly, I think you just need to have a sense of accountability, and there needs to be a sense of accountability amongst the leadership group to hold everybody else accountable, whether that's picking tape up in the locker room, tucking your shirts in the workouts. Like, all that stuff matters, and that's why you heard Bo visibly frustrated with whether it was green mouthpiece or whatever, because that's not how we were raised. That's not how we came in the program. That stuff didn't necessarily fly. And so I think if it was me and I had to choose, I would choose accountability, a sense of pride, and doing things the right way over up downs. If that's what works for them, great. But it's been instilled in me, hold each other accountable, and our standard is our standard. That's non-negotiable.
Right. In other words, you got to come in with it. That attitude. That's what's up. I like that. I like that perspective.
Right, when you come in, the expectation is so high, so you got to live up to it.
Right.
Bring it home, Marvin.
Well, I can tell you this, Kelly. You actually made me have some flashbacks. So when I played, it wasn't up downs. It was way worse than up downs because, you know, the NCAA oversight, it wasn't as, you know, intense as it is now. But I can tell you this. There was two guys that I played with. Every day we would it starts during the spring. We would always ask them, hey, when are you working out? Because nobody wanted to go when they were going because we knew Coach Jones had it out for them. And the only way he knew to get them right was to torture all of us to in turn make them get it together. And after going through that during the spring and the summer, it does bring the team together because that was the only way that those guys understood that this is the standard. This is what is expected. Either you're going to do it or you're going to deal with your teammates. It was plain and simple. So it was a hell of a tactic, but it actually worked. And it wasn't up downs. It was a whole lot of, as in Coach Jones' words, a whole lot of stupid shit.
He was forcing y'all to be accountable. It's like when we used to run 110s. It did not count if you didn't make your time. And ask Bo. We had dudes like Big Shank. Shank was probably 365 pounds. You know, Lord, you know, he was trying, but he wasn't making his time. And so what would happen? Cock would say it don't count. And what would happen with us? We get mad and we start holding each other accountable because we're getting pissed off because we're making our time, but the big guys, it doesn't matter. Like, that's how it was all about accountability. So you said it best. They're making you do those type of things, Marvin, but they were doing it to make you guys accountable amongst each other. And that's what was important.
Hey, Christian, check this out. So one of them, I want to say his name so bad, but I'm not going to put him out there. Again, we would always ask, and you know what his answer would always be? We ask him when he's going to work out. I don't know. Y'all will see when I get there. And we all like, man, just tell us because we don't want to go when you're there.
So Kelly, the bottom line is these guys believe in corporal punishment.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's a great takeaway for you. Well, Kelly, we greatly appreciate you being with us tonight and asking your questions and challenging these guys, especially Steve Brown. It was very entertaining. Before you go, tell folks how they can find you on Twitter, especially during game day, because you are quite lively on there. And if they're not following you already, they need to be.
Yes, I am on Twitter, X, whatever it's called nowadays. It's at Southern Lady First.
All right, that's what's up. Well, we greatly appreciate you spending time with us. I hope you enjoyed as much as we did.
I'm sending you a tweet right now. Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll answer.
Have a great night, Kelly. Roll Tide.
You're a stalker, bro.
Roll Tide.
You're a stalker.
Right.
You stalking that lady before she even get off the All the time.
I mean, I gotta get her back, man. She
I mean,
said,
you like the Subway guy.
man, she.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Steve, they say you built like 2-week-old banana pudding.
I'm gonna start the show, but I'm gonna start the show.
Oh boy.
But I'm gonna start the show.
We have come up on the end of our time here. We actually went over because we're having so much fun. We appreciate everybody in the audience. Hey, hit that like and subscribe button. And a reminder for everybody still watching, September 1st, the Bryant Museum, 7 p.m. Central. Yes, we have changed the time. We are going to be live doing our thing, previewing Alabama versus Middle Tennessee State. We'll be around the next day, actually interviewing people we see on the street, and we'll be at the game. Christian and Corey, you're more than welcome to come join the fun. So please feel free to stop by.
Well, this will be an open scrimmage, so we all can go and see.
No tank tops.
Hey, make sure
Marvin, what are you going to wear?
Put some sleeves on.
Mine.
You don't count.
Amazing.
You don't count. Nobody looks at you with your sleeves
I
off.
look amazing. Look at me. I look amazing. What are you talking about? Hey, Justin,
Steve.
what is Steven doing?
I don't know, man.
He's falling asleep. He needs to go home.
Well, before he gets a whooping back home, let's go ahead and start closing things up. As we always do, we pass it around the table.
I'm in the sun right here, man. I got the eclipse thing going on.
The way that
Shine
sun
down on you.
The way that sun piercing through your glasses, you're gonna set your dashboard on fire.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, we got to get out of here real quick, Justin. But let me.
All right. Well, let's let these guys do their thing.
You're gonna like this, bro. My sermon for the team. I got an opening day sermon. I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they need to hear this sermon because Alabama has lost a little bit of the standard, the grip, right? And so my sermon is based on a story about a man that was a king. His name is David, right? David had to face this giant Philistine, 9'6" and barking murderous threats at him every day, laughed at him. Well, that's what's happening to Alabama. People around the country, they're laughing at you. They're doubting you. They're questioning you, right? But here's my message. It's just this. Look back. All you got to do is look back. One thing David did. You know why he had confidence when he faced Goliath, who was bigger, stronger, faster? He had confidence because he looked back. And he looked back and he saw I had a victory over a lion. I had a victory over a bear. And now I stand in front of Goliath and I'm not ashamed, afraid, and I won't back down. Nick Saban, the Alabama Crimson Tide, look back at all them championships. Look back at second and 26. Look back how you overcame time and time again. Can I tell you and challenge you, Nick Saban, to look back over your history, and therefore you won't be afraid. So my message is all about looking back, and I'm gonna walk this thing through. Y'all gonna be putting money in my collection plate, and we're gonna be shouting.
And I already got the money right now.
Because I'm here to tell you, I see a tide coming in. Look at your neighbor and say it's coming soon.
It's coming soon, brother. It's coming.
All you got to do, look at your neighbor, slap them, high five, and say, I'll just look back. Look back at Georgia. Look back at the SEC championship. Look at 7-time national championship. Nick Saban, look back. Because when you look back, you won't doubt. When you look
you know
back,
what? From this point on, I'm not going to no more strip clubs.
Before you go out, tell everybody about y'all's podcast and how they can find it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. So every day we got a radio show we do weekdays, Monday through Friday, 11 to 12. Stephen Smith is always gracious to join us on there, but it's called The Miller's Edge. So make sure you check us out on Tide 100.9, again, 11 to 12, Monday through Friday. And, we'll definitely come check you guys out at the Bryant Museum. And if you guys, in return, want to come check us out, we'll be at Buffalo's Cafe in Midtown Village on September 1st. And at every home game, Fridays, we'll be at Buffalo's Cafe doing our live show there at our time, so at 11 a.m. So if you guys want to come hang out, get some wings, here's a little flyer that will be up, and we'll pass it around. But Again, it's Buffalo's Cafe in Midtown Village. But again, you can catch us on Miller's Edge Monday through Friday, 11 to 12 on Tide 100.9.
And you know,
That's what's up, man.
I know you ready to lick your finger. They can mix and match all kind of sauce.
Are y'all
I know that T-shirt rink right now. It look rank. It look like you just got the sun with that T-shirt on.
I will say this. We enjoy y'all coming on. We really do, man. Y'all are like an asset to it. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. But just know this, Christian, I look better than you.
Hey, hold on. Mr. Miller, did you just say Steve Brown had to cut the yellow armpits out of his T-shirt?
Oh, man. We appreciate and love y'all. Corey and Christian, come back anytime. We'll be there on game day.
All right, bro. Thank y'all, man.
Man, good seeing you too, man.
He said the yellow armpits.
All right, so this closes things up. We'll start out with Marvin. Tell people what they can do to get 40 Plus Strong and how they can find you on social media. And then we'll go to Steve Brown, Stephen M. Smith, and Bo will finish it up.
All right, you want to follow me on Instagram? It's real simple, Constant45. There it is. There's a direct link to my book on my Instagram. The title of the book is Physical and Mental Fitness at 40 Plus. So again, you're in your late 30s, 40s, 50s, and you're looking for a resource that'll help you get back on track, get back to feeling well and living well. That's not going to be taxing on your body. 3 different workout programs, one for beginner, one for intermediate, one for those who've been doing it for a while. It's designed so you can actually write in it, track your progress as you move through those 18 weeks worth of workouts, whatever it is. And again, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm always available for questions. You see, I'm still holding them, baby.
Steve Brown, what you got coming up? I know you got a lot of things going on. Tell everybody how they can get involved, including your homecoming in Tuscaloosa.
Follow me on Instagram, Comic Steve Brown, one word, Comic Steve Brown. You can also follow me on my fan page on Facebook. It's Comedian Steve Brown. This Saturday, I'll be in Fort Lauderdale at the Dania Beach Casino and Resort. It's a really big show. And the tickets are going really fast. And also, of course, I have my own baby, which is September 16th. At the Bama Theater in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and we're raising proceeds for me and Marvin's alma mater, Central High School. So that should be a very big deal, and we're excited about it. So y'all come out.
Hey, Steve, I give you a quick tip, too. Go to Rock Bar while you're in Fort Lauderdale. It's right there on the beach. Great food. You won't be disappointed. Rock Bar.
Hey, real quick, Marvin, we got a request from the audience. Can you get your cousin Funny Man on the show?
Well, he is my first cousin. I mean, I could ask him. I talk to him all the time. That's fine.
All right, cool. Stephen and Smith, what you got up on In My Own Words, and how can folks find you?
Still talking fall camp stuff. Second scrimmage this weekend, the big one. We're gonna be talking about, what does Milroe do in this one? He did a great job in the first one. Can he stack a second one on top to really show Coach Saban this is mine? So we're gonna talk about that on tomorrow's show. We're getting to tight end talk, defense talk. All those conversations still happening. The battle on the left side of the offensive line, that's still going on right now. The people can find me on Twitter at Coaching M Smith on Twitter, at Coaching M Smith on Twitter. I'm right there. But every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6:30, in my own words, we're talking nothing but this fall camp because it's starting to get real. Saban's starting to get even more ticked off, which makes it even more exciting. And Kevin Steele has got this defense ready to run through a wall. Like, these guys are playing. These guys are being aggressive. You got guys flying everywhere. So this can be a really fun season.
I hope
so. I love it. Bo, what you got for the fans? How can they find you on all your platforms?
They can find me on Instagram, 5-Star Bo. I got my clothing line. They're gonna be at the show on the 1st at the Paul Brown Museum, and also we'll have them Saturday during the daytime before the game start as well. And working out at XO still. You can find me on Cameo, Bo Scarborough. Yeah, that's about it for me, Justin.
Love it. I cannot wait to see those shirts that we've been talking about. That design.
Marvin got his. Steven got his.
No, I'm talking about the new design that me and you came up with.
I'm about to say, where my shirt at?
Oh, you ain't get one when we did it. I thought you ain't got one.
While we look for our shirts, folks, we'll see you right here next week at the same time as we get closer and closer to kickoff. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.